Today I'm going to talk about social emotional learning. I'm going to talk about engaging parents and the environment as a third teacher. I'm going to start with social emotional learning. And I find one thing that I like to do in the classroom is identify emotions and label them. And I do have this monster matchup, which is great for the children to connect the emotion with what the face looks like. I also enjoy doing a daily check-in with sort of the today I feel. And I have quite an extensive poster of emotions and what they would look like on different Muppet characters. The kids do like looking over their faces and trying to make the same type of face. I also have a calming corner in my classroom. It has pillows and a stuffy, some squeezy toys for the children. I also teach everyone about the lazy 8 breathing, and I do have that chart available on the wall for the children. And then we also, as a whole class, learn about 5-finger breathing. And the thing that's excellent about 5-finger breathing is it doesn't matter where you are, you have that option to try and calm yourself down through your breathing because you always have your hand with you. I also have calming strategy cards. These ones here are just on a sheet, but they would be cut and put on a ring. And then a child can choose a strategy that they'd like to try and calm themselves down. The one in terms of pushing something, I've actually used a filing box with files in it and had a child physically pushing that down the hall, someone who really needed to exert some extra push and moving something. I also try on a Friday to do a compliment circle where I'm establishing a routine of the children giving and receiving a compliment. Of course, I have to model this first and showing lots of examples and setting expectations during a compliment circle time. The children actually really look forward to that and hearing compliments from their peers. I like to teach problem solving skills as well and do have just a poster of just some basic strategies of how they can solve a problem and steps to go through. In terms of books, there's a lot of literature that supports teaching social emotional skills and lots of stories that you can utilize. Just Google social emotional learning and for children, and you'll find lots of great resources that you can use. I also like to nurture a culture of kindness and do like to start the year with bucket filling activities, as that just really sets the tone of what I expect in terms of how we all treat each other. And we can also come up with a list of what it would look like and sound like and feel like in our classroom if we were bucket fillers. I also think how a child approaches something that frustrates them is really important. So growth mindset is an area that I like to assist children with how they're thinking about an activity and when they're frustrated and wording something in a certain way, let's flip that around. How can we make this into a positive thing? So their mindset is an important thing to also address. Finally, zones of regulation. I like to have the posters up for the different zones and then talking to the children about the green zone and what we can do to stay in that zone. And I do actually have a tool belt of activities or sorry, strategies they can use to get themselves back into that green zone. Second thing I'd like to talk to you about today is engaging parents, and I really enjoy having parents in my classroom. And so strategies to include them would be great communication. I think that's paramount in for all teachers. So I try to do weekly emails to parents about upcoming things. I like to do a classroom newsletter. I phone parents, notes of praise home about things that their children are doing in the class. I always have face-to-face conversations first thing in the morning, end of the day, trying to connect with parents outside when I can. I also use FreshGrade and do send home photos and videos via that. And then we do have, for our kindergartners, a homeschool communication folder that has notices from school that goes back and forth. I provide lots of opportunities for parents to volunteer in the classroom. Some parents are available for regular volunteering, and so they come in for things like journals and our guided reading. Other parents whose schedules aren't quite as open are also welcome for things like our shared reading on Friday mornings, where younger siblings are also welcome in our classroom. And then we do have special events that I always make sure parents know about well in advance. So if they do want to take time off work to join us in our classroom, that they can come for those types of special activities. Some of those are things like baking, making ornaments, gingerbread houses, our dragon parade, our 100-day parade, and then field trips are another time where parent assistance is most welcomed. At the very beginning of the school year, we do have welcoming meetings. Prior to the welcoming meetings, I do send home a photocopied questionnaire, and so that the parents can come to the meeting and we can discuss things that they've written down on the questionnaire, and then if there's any other questions or concerns. And this is just an excellent way to establish a rapport with the family right from the very beginning of the school year. I also encourage parents to get connected with our school PAC group, and then also let them know that we do have a strong start in our school in case they have younger siblings and would like to start bringing them to something like that. And then I also always mention if I'd like to support a diverse composition in our classroom, and parents are encouraged to share their families' cultures and traditions with us. In addition to this, I like to create a warm and welcoming classroom environment. I like to have photos of each child. I've got something like this where there's frames and the families are highlighted in the classroom. And then I label the classroom really well with their names so the children can see that they're part of this physical space. And then I display lots of artwork, and we create a list of class rules together. I've got a picture here of class rules so that, again, the children are all feeling connected to the physical space and the classroom through these photos and seeing their names and seeing their artwork and knowing that they were part of a collaborative group coming up with rules and expectations for the classroom. Finally, the environment as the third teacher. In the Reggio approach, the environment is the third teacher. Items need to be in the environment are thoughtfully chosen. Here's a picture of how children can make the number 7. Value is placed on organization and communication and interaction of the children. What we present is intentional, and the environment is aesthetically appealing as well. Children's art is always showcased in when the environment is a third teacher. There's a great picture of children's artwork here and another one. You want to make sure that learning is visible through a documentation of children's work in classroom displays, and there's a picture of sort of work in progress, and they're showing their thinking and their learning. It's all visible through what is being shown on the bulletin board. Nature is going to be evident in the space. You'll have lots of nice natural light from the windows. You'll maybe have some lamps and some plants to just kind of make the environment just warm and welcoming. You'd have pictures of the children. I love this with birthdays, and then there's a picture of the child next to the month of their birthday. There'd be a balance of individual, small and large group activities. There'd be child-directed and teacher-initiated activities, and lots of outdoor experiences. So I would encourage you to gradually and thoughtfully start to think about the environment as the third teacher, if you haven't already. It's about rethinking your space, and ask yourself, what would happen if you offered the children less? And here's a picture, just again, just beautiful, calming environment. Lights are down. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to my presentation on social emotional learning, engaging parents, and the environment as the third teacher. Thank you.